This is Marco from Crypt and I'm here to talk about our debut album To The Grave, which is coming up to its 5-year anniversary. I'm going to do a quick track by track and share a few stories behind each song. So starting off, Promesse Battesimali is just a little quick intro. It kind of came together as a last minute thing where our guitarist Zach used a bow on his guitar and he decided to just send a few samples into the group chat. I grabbed those tracks, randomly put them together, like overlapping them and stuff. Because the second track, An Exorcism, is about a woman giving birth while being possessed, I had this weird idea while we're out getting sushi one night with myself, Jordan, and a few other friends, and we were just walking through the car park and there was this baby crying, and I was like, hey Jordan, how funny would this be if I took out my phone and recorded this, because of the car park being so echoey, that if this made it onto the album. Ended up recording it and came home the next day to listen to it and put on top of what we had, and it sounded sick, so decided to put that in the background. And then the words of Promesse Battesimali is the baptismal promises spoken in Italian. Moving on to An Exorcism. This song is inspired by not only The Exorcist and any sort of exorcism films, but also the French movie Inside, where I had the idea of the woman trying to perform a cesarean on herself, which the demon possesses her to do, was just pretty much ripped out of without spoiling the movie, what happens in Inside. So check that movie out because it's fucking sick. This brings us to the third track, Skinned Alive. Skinned Alive was pretty much about putting a human in an animal's position, kind of like inspired by what Cattle Decapitation sort of wrote about, as well as the movie Martyrs, another French film. But not so much the concept of martyrs, just more the visuals, as well as just trying to put a human into an animal's position, really. Cremator is track 4. Now this one here, the intro was just me doing a bit of like a dying sort of sounds, and I found some fire samples and whatnot, because the song is pretty much, it was inspired while I was playing the video game Tomb Raider, the PS4 version. It was just some of the scenes from that game where Lara Croft is burning through a bunch of tombs and stuff. I just thought it looked cool visually, but also it would come across sick as some lyrics. So the song's pretty much being about in an ancient civilization, dead come back to life and burning them all, really. I am the cremator. Track 5, Flesh Obsessed. This was the first single we released off To The Grave. Now Flesh Obsessed was also the first set of lyrics that I ever wrote for Crypt. This was just me just trying to write death metal lyrics for the first time. And I look back on that song now and I slightly cringe on some of those lyrics, but at the same time, I think it's also some really catchy and fun lyrics too. So I just tried to rhyme as much as I could. That chorus, flesh obsessed, I'm possessed with my need to experiment, flesh obsessed, I will not rest till I'm dressed in the dead. So yeah, that's flesh obsessed is pretty much about a person choosing to eat themselves because they don't want to eat anyone else. And I saw in a review once that someone compared it to Eaten by Bloodbath, so fuck yeah, I'll take that. Flesh Obsessed was also our first music video that we ever did. That concept was really fun to come up with, as well as the actual making of that music video. And I came up with a smart idea to see if we can get someone cutting out their own intestines and trying to eat them. And coming up with that concept, I was trying to think of what could be possibly practical in a sense. And I was like, well, what happens if this person had a fake stomach, really, and pulling out the intestines from that stomach? And that's what we created. We created like a little tray, which we put latex over the top of. We had a hole in the back of that tray where we had a bunch of sausages in there. And yeah, pretty much there was a bag of blood behind the skin, or the latex that's at the start, where the actress that we had stabbed into it, bursting the blood bag, and then her reaching in and pulling out the intestines, which came out really sick. So it was pretty cool for our very first music video. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. Alright, track 6, Dig Up the Dead. This track was inspired by the movie Pet Sematary, written about someone's loved ones dying and burying them one night and trying to resurrect them the next day. Not of This World, which is on side B of the vinyl, otherwise track 7 on the CD. Now, Not of This World is based on the film The Thing, just pretty much being about an alien life form imitating and coming into contact with humans and pretty much killing us all. Okay, that leads us to track 8, Soul Harvester. Soul Harvester is actually one of my favourite songs off To The Grave. It's actually the very first Crypt song that Jordan, our former guitarist, and myself started writing together when we formed this band. It's actually part of a trilogy of songs, Soul Harvester being on To The Grave, One Shadow in Our Flesh being on Future Usurper, and our upcoming album will have the third part on it, so stay tuned for that. Soul Harvester started off being inspired by Stranger Things. It's pretty much about an entity in the sky wiping away humanity. However, it has evolved as the series has gone on. The reason why it continued is, well, the main riff passage that Jordan had come up with, he came up with an alternative version and we're like, oh, how about we just make a sequel to it? So that's where One Shadow in Our Flesh came from on Future Usurper. And then we said, fuck it, let's continue it and make a trilogy for this latest album coming soon. Alright, that leads us to track 9, which is Bloodletting. Bloodletting was the final track we had written for To The Grave. Lyrically, I got slightly inspired by some imagery that I saw in a movie. That movie being kind of a dumbish horror movie, but it was enjoyable for what it was. The movie Truth or Dare. Lyrically, yeah, it was just about using blood to appease the gods in the sky.
This is my home, this is my reality, To The Grave.
That leads us to track 10, which is the title track, To The Grave. This one here was inspired by the movie Last Shift. Again, nothing to do with the actual movie itself, but just a particular scene in that film where this possessed woman who's got like scars all over her face and stuff, pretty much walks through a corridor on all fours and her bones are cracking and making all sorts of disgustingly horrid noises, that I decided to just take that visual and come up with a song about a woman terrorizing a man that had killed her, and like as her bones break and stuff, she's pretty much killing him.
This is my home, this is my reality, To The Grave.
Alright, that leads us to the final track off To The Grave, which is The Surgery Begins. This one here is not really inspired by any horror movie in particular or anything. It's just pretty much about a makeshift surgeon performing a absolutely disgusting surgery on someone in the most brutal and death metal way possible, which is a fitting conclusion to The Grave. Hope you guys have enjoyed that little track by track of To The Grave. Give it another spin. 5 years old this week. I can't believe the time has gone that quickly, but here we are. And get ready for our new album coming out later this year. Alright guys, peace.